it was not a good Monday for the Baylor football team. On top of having a couple of guys go into the portal, they got the news late afternoon that their top commit in the class of 2025, the straw that stirred the drink of that class that might well save Dave Aranda's job, well, Adam Schobel is no longer coming. The Columbus, Texas quarterback put out in a tweet on Monday afternoon that not only was he decommitting from Baylor, but in the same tweet, committed to Oklahoma State with the graphic and everything, his family with the picture with Mike Gundy. He is now, for the moment, an Oklahoma State Cowboy, and that is a big loss for Baylor. This momentum that has been coming in the 2025 class has been very, very real, but the guy who was in there before the Keenan Hall effect took place in the offseason, and the guy who solidifies that as a top 3 class in the Big 12 for 2025 was Adam Schobel. And now he is taking his talents up the road to Stillwater. And that is a big loss for the Bears. It has been well noted that they have struggled the last couple of years in getting high quality high school quarterbacks through the door, keeping them to stay with their commitment, and, also keeping them to stay on campus after a year. It's been a real struggle for the Bears, especially within the state of Texas, to have that go on. And Adam Schobel, I mean, this is a guy that I think is going to be a star in college football. I mean, he was one that I think had committed to Baylor, at least had gotten the offer from Baylor after his freshman season at Columbus High, where he's coached by his dad there, Matt Schobel. But big, tall kid, 6'4", still kind of, rounding out that frame, kind of getting the muscle to fill out that frame. But what I was really impressed with looking at his first film, so after his freshman year and through his sophomore year as well, is he's got some good arm talent, man. He didn't have a lot of zip on the ball back then, but he's 14, 15 years old. What he could do, though, is he could throw it sideline to sideline, which is something that young quarterbacks tend to struggle with. And a lot of guys don't really figure out that arm strength and that arm talent until a couple of years into a college career. And that was something that he had right away. And could pick apart his own defense with the best of them. And that's obviously a big part of high school football. Now I will say I did see him play live this year, and it was, I would have to think probably the worst game of his career. And that was against Lorena, Jaden Porter, another Baylor commit, class 2024. In fact, Porter picked him off. The guy who's going to play slot receiver for Baylor was playing safety for Lorena on the night as well. And Schobel just couldn't get anything going. He threw for -2 yards in the second half, but that was an anomaly. I mean, this kid has been a big time quarterback the last couple of years. He is near the top of the Texas quarterback rankings for the class of 2025. And it felt like a big win for Baylor when you got him to sign on. Because it was not a positive time for Baylor on the recruiting trail anyway. And we're really just starting to turn that corner into a good situation on the recruiting trail. But he was a guy who committed after they had lost out on Austin Novosad and lost out on Walker White from Little Rock Christian in Arkansas. And they needed a big name, and Sean Bell was able to get his commitment. And here we are as he heads into his senior year, now an Oklahoma State Cowboy. I will say this, because I know there are some Oklahoma State fans tuning into this too. I don't mean this in a bad way or to throw shade at the kid, by no means, but I would be surprised if this is the last commitment he has. Not trying to be like those, oh, you didn't stand by your word, which, like, no, although we didn't, but I'm not trying to be like that. It's just that this reminds me very much of the Austin Novosad situation that Baylor had a couple of years ago. The quarterback out of Dripping Springs who had committed to Baylor, and then his stock skyrocketed. And before his senior year, he was starting to get official visits to Notre Dame and A&M and to Ohio State and these big time programs, A&M notwithstanding. And we were really, really nervous. We were sweating it out. And obviously, you remember how that saga went. He said, I'm sticking with Baylor. And then, like literally the 11th hour, the night before National Signing Day, Oregon swooped in, gave him a bag he never even visited, and said, I'm going to Oregon. And it seems like that could be, I don't want to say Schobel's going to wait to the 11th hour, but what I think is he's going to get some very good offers through his senior year. He's a guy who's, again, still growing, prototypical style of quarterback, though, 6'4", 6'5", can run it a little bit because he's tough to bring down, and can make the passes that you want, all the passes that you want for a kid at this level. Obviously, a very good background on him, where he's starting. I mean, it was also cool that you were taking him from TCU, because both his dad and his uncle played at TCU. In fact, his uncle has sacked Tom Brady more than anybody else in the NFL, just in case you want to know that. But he's like a 3,000-yard thrower the last couple of years. As a sophomore, I think that touchdown to interception was like 36-4. He completes between 70 to 75% of his passes. Runs the 200 in a pretty good time, in case you're interested in that kind of thing. And you look at the offers that he got, and Houston, Baylor, Oklahoma State, like clearly those are the big names out of it. So we haven't even hit the A&Ms, the UTs, the OUs of the world. And I think those are going to come knocking on his door here in his senior year. So don't be surprised if this is not the last commitment, but this is a huge loss for Baylor to take the top guy from your 2025 class, and quarterback, no less, which is, of course, the most important position. And in the same tweet, he decommits from you and commits to a conference rival. That is a tough pill to swallow if you're a Baylor fan. And it truly is. I think Schobel is going to be a Power 5 starter. Like, I could see that, no problem. And we'll see if it's at Oklahoma State. But for right now, you folks up in Stillwater, you pokes, I think you got a good one here. And their gain is very much Baylor's loss in this scenario. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. We really appreciate that. And if you want to keep up to date on all the Baylor sports news, be sure to give us a like and ring the notification bell, because we are your first listen today and every day. We are your exclusive home for nothing but Baylor sports content 5 days a week that's not coming straight from the university. Be sure to follow us here on YouTube, and also wherever you get your podcasts, and on Twitter as well at Locked On Baylor. Thanks so much again. Have a good one, and sick 'em.